The big question in Broncos country is what's our policy on late jumpers on to the Bo Nix bandwagon? And more importantly, like how long until we are going to forgive the national media for the doubt and hate on this current Broncos team? How long until we're going to like respect what they say and listen to what they say again? Sean Payton told us months ago that he was going to be better at evaluating quarterbacks than anyone else. And Bo Nix put up the numbers tonight, put up the numbers all through camp, put up the numbers last week against the Indianapolis Colts. We're going to break down his best throws against the Green Bay Packers, look at what the national media is groveling back to us saying, that and so much more on this channel. If you're new to the channel, I'm Ben. I'm a diehard Broncos fan, and while I didn't initially want Bo Nix, I have been all aboard the Nix train since we drafted him, and hearing that Sean Payton couldn't even wait to hop on the Pat McAfee show and just gush and glow about him even during the draft. But here's what we're seeing. We know that Bo Nix, again, tonight against the Green Bay Packers, he was just going up against the Green Bay Packers twos. All the Packers fans in my life have made a real good point about doing that, although you heard Go Pack Go chants raining through Mile High tonight at Broncos Stadium, and there were a lot of Packers there wanting to see their team. Yet we beat them last year with less than stellar quarterback play. Like, we beat them in joint training camp practice with their ones. And at the end of the day, these players that were up against Bo Nix, they are players in the NFL, and we can only play against who they throw out there. And Bo Nix was 8 of 9. He had the one incompletion where you saw him hit his chest, and you heard Ryan Clark say, oh, there's the sign of maturity there, that he is already owning it. Almost 100 yards throwing, 1 touchdown, and a 140 passer rating. So all these people who are going like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and could not be praising Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels any more than they are, and even J.J. McCarthy, Bo Nix has put up better numbers throughout this preseason than any of those guys and thrown better throws. And we're just starting to see that Sean Payton told us he knew how to draft quarterbacks, knew how he knew how to develop quarterbacks. He wanted to go get Pat Mahomes a few years ago, was even asked about that in a Kay Adams interview. We're going to get to that in just 1 second here. But the fact of the matter is that on 6 of 7 possessions for Bo Nix, he has scored and scored handily and moved the ball at will. The one time that he did not score was the Lucas Kroll fumble, which the Denver defense got it back for him, and he drove the length of the field even further to put up points at the end of the half there last year. The future is here in Denver, and we're even saying this isn't from like Mike Kliss or a plugged-in Broncos guy we respect. This is from Ari, who is with the 33rd Team Football, like got a ton of followers, pretty well-known host, and so we're starting to see them come back. None of us are surprised. Like, Sean Payton never lowered our expectations. He always, I had thought if what the national media was saying about the Broncos and what Sean Payton thinks about the Broncos, like there was always a massive disconnect, and he never had us lower our expectations. He was adamant that he had his dude, and we're about to see why. So we're going to look at a couple of the plays against the Packers tonight that just had me out of my chair excited. My kids can no longer watch games with me because they just like get so shocked when I like hoop and holler. And my daughter told me she was scared of me. She also, when the picture of Bo Nix came on and he's got that cheesy grin, she's like, Dad, he looks like he should work at like Burger King or something. So I do agree. That's criticism of Bo Nix. See, I can be objective. He needs a new picture, a new profile picture for all of these, because we're going to be seeing it a lot. So this is the first play on the goal line. Just wild here. As this play is developing, I thought there was a ton of pressure, and I'm like, oh, throw it away, Bo, throw it. Like, it'll be 3rd and goal. Let's get a good look at this. You got nothing here. And just his ability to fit this into the tight window, and seeing that this was, Tim Patrick's first touchdown again with the Denver Broncos in over 2 years. It was emotional. All the talk about Tim Patrick being on the bubble, I think, is over after tonight. Just seeing that he was running with the ones. Cortland Sutton and Tim Patrick are locks for that. For being your wide receiver 1 and 2. Feel phenomenal about Josh Reynolds in that spot. And then we've got a lot of dudes with high upside, but like we're talking about proven players in those 3 right there. So watch this play as it develops. Again, somebody in his face, and the ability right there to just thread the needle there was wild to me. A play. This is why people are gushing and saying stuff like, we haven't seen electric play like this since we had Peyton Manning. And that's not hyperbole. Like, that is the straight truth. Again, a man on his face. He doesn't scramble and try to, roll out of the pocket. To find Tim Patrick right there was absolutely incredible. And then seeing, like, I love watching Bo's stat line because he does not have a favorite target yet. He spreads the ball and he puts the ball with whoever is open. And that's something that he's been criticized for by the national media. Like, oh, most of his plays are dump offs. We're not talking about Madden football where everything is, a 90-yard bomb to a wide open Tyreek Hill. We're talking about the NFL where your job is to move the chains and to score points. And Bo Nix has done that in every single preseason drive he's been on, other than one where there was a fumble by his tight end. So I loved seeing this here too. Like, I really wanted Courtland. Like, I am a big Courtland Sutton fan. I think he is a very underrated receiver, catching passes from 9 different quarterbacks in his tenure and still able to put up the production here. Great offensive line protection here, and Bo Nix stepping up and just throwing a dart over the middle of the field. The fact of the matter is, you guys, that when Bo Nix sees zone coverage, that is game over for the defense. And he reads coverage. How many times do we see him at the line audibling? That's phenomenal. That, like, to me, like, that's not an open receiver. Like, that's open in the NFL, but you got 2 Packers guys right here. You're putting it in space. And so I think what you're going to start to see defensives do, if they have the talent for it, is play a lot of man coverage, because if Bo Nix sees a zone coverage and knows where the pockets are going to be, it's like he's got a cheat code enabled, and we're seeing it here. So amazing strike there. All of the talk of Bo Nix not having the arm talent for the NFL is really over as far as I'm concerned. And we saw that in pregame warmups here. Susie Wargen tweeted this sick video that got me hyped before the game even started, to seeing Courtland Sutton just flying down the field here and seeing Bo Nix hit him in stride. Again, I got to watch him live last week at Lucas Oil Stadium, and his arm strength is there. Just seeing Courtland Sutton doesn't slow down. He in stride locates that ball and pulls it in, and seeing Bo Nix just spreads it out like he's Nikola Jokic. And obviously, I know that he is not Caleb Williams, like, flashy, but all we need is a quarterback who runs Sean Payton's system and gets it everywhere. And I think Bo Nix is even better than that. Like, there were so many times where old Denver Broncos teams, you're like, oh, all right, well, Bo, you're 1st and 20. Like, sorry, man, we're not going to get points here, but that's okay. You've had a great couple snaps here. Really, whatever, we'll punt and get it back for you and get you a better field position. And Bo Nix scrambles and gets 10 yards, and then all of a sudden, a 23-yard dart to Courtland Sutton. We see him hit Tim Patrick on a 3rd and 9 play, and I was just extremely, extremely excited. Loved seeing Tim Patrick in the end zone again after 2 years and bringing back our famous Mile High Salute. Man, if that could be a thing with this uniform set, with this new quarterback, we are just, we can't get enough of this team, guys. Like, this, we're going to shock the world, because the betting lines on the Broncos are still that we're only going to win 5.5 games, and that's just not going to happen. You're seeing, again, plugged in Broncos beat reporters being like, hey, this is the best we've looked since Peyton Manning was our quarterback, and that's not braggadocious or hyperbole. That's true. His passer rating has been phenomenal, though only one negative play. Broncos had a touchdown to Javonte. Bo Nix stepped up into space. He could have easily run for a first down, but he hit Javonte in the back of the end zone for what looked like a touchdown. And my son looked back at me like, Dad, why aren't we cheering? And I was like, watching it, because that blue line was really clear. I'm like, I think he was like 2 feet in front of that blue line. That it doesn't matter. Like, he could have run. He learned that lesson. He is a supercomputer, so that will not happen again from Bo Nix. And that is something we can be very, very excited about. You should have chills, Denver Broncos 365, because this has been a long time coming, and we've been here for it. We've been here for it. In the comments, like, we all have Bo-lieved, and it feels incredible to have national media come out and Bo-lieve. I watched the full Kay Adams highlight with Sean Payton. She did a phenomenal job interviewing him, pressed him hard. This was one of my favorite moments, and I think you just see it here tonight. She's like, the jig is up, Sean. This little interaction right here comes right after she told him hey, you liked Pat Mahomes. Do you have the future Pat Mahomes? And here's what he said.
At Oregon.
Look at your face, Coach.
Yeah, so it's a bad poker face.
What was the moment? I need the moment where you were like,
Look at your face. I don't have a good poker face. He said, like, we all know that Sean Payton and Bo Nix are the dream team, and we are here for it. The Denver Broncos will win at least 7 games this year. There's no doubt in my mind about it, and I'm so confident in it that if the Denver Broncos do not win at least 7 games, Sean Payton has never won less than 7 games his whole career. He won more than that last year, and as we've seen over 2 preseason games, the entire training camp, a healthy roster right now, we're better than we were last year. If the Denver Broncos do not win at least 7 games, I will drive to the closest Waffle House to my house, which is 3 hours away, I think, or maybe it's like closer to 4. And I will camp in there and live stream and eat every bad take I have had for 24 hours, and I'll live stream it for all of you. And I'm not even worried about that because we have a franchise quarterback. The future is so bright in Denver. The only downside of the entire night is we have to wait 21 more days until we see Bo Nix beat the Seattle Seahawks because we have a ton to believe in.